When I decided that I was going to tell him that I wanted a divorce, we sit down in our session. It's like really tense, really awkward. My ex was sitting there like, so why do we have an emergency session? Therapist was like, Jamie, do you want to start? And I just started crying and I was like, I want a divorce. He sat there quiet. I'm sitting next to him crying. He didn't move. He didn't look at me. He didn't react at all. He just was stone cold.
What's good, YouTube? This is KB LaFleur. You can call me KB. Welcome back to another video. We got something pretty good. We got this woman telling her little story. Once again, we always got to have women telling their stories, running to the internet, claiming to be adults, claiming to be independent, claiming to be more mature than men. But the first thing that they do is run to the internet to air out everybody's business. Well, he did this. Well, he did this. But for the most part, she jumps on the internet because she says, hey, well, my husband did not even fight for our relationship when I said I want a divorce, or when I wanted to initiate a divorce, because that's generally what happens. And she is just part of your statistic of your women who marry for the wrong reasons and end up getting divorced, or well, they end up pushing the divorce. But it's just so funny that women, you got a lot of women who like to end the relationship, who want to destroy the relationship, and then turn around and then play victim. And then, well, then you never really love me because you're not even fighting. Yo, man, listen, it don't even matter. Please get out of here. Please get out of here. But we just have a lot of indecisive women, and this is what happens when you marry for the wrong reasons, and this is what happens when you are a strong, independent woman. I can just tell, just off the strength of this video, that, hey, man, she just has a very unlikable personality, to the point that this man, he already knew what time it was. So as soon as you brought it up, he said, hey, man, I got it. It is what it is. Mind you, they're already in therapy. So, I mean, he already knew what time it was. He already knew, man, this ain't going to last much longer. But you have these adults, these quote unquote adults, playing these little mind games, playing these little children games. Once again, I mean, if you want to be that upset, then you need to get on your knees and apologize and make sure that, hey, whatever reason we are in here, we don't need to be coming back up in here. Right. So, I mean, let's jump into this video, man.
When I decided that I was going to tell him that I wanted a divorce, we sit down in our session. It's like really tense, really awkward. My ex was sitting there like, so why do we have an emergency session? Therapist was like, Jamie, do you want to start? And I just started crying and I was like, I want a divorce. He sat there quiet. I'm sitting next to him crying. He didn't move. He didn't look at me. He didn't react at all. He just was stone cold. And eventually our therapist was like, would you like to respond? So he responded right away and he's like, fine, let's just go ahead and finalize the details. Like, I knew that I was ready to leave that day, but I couldn't believe that that was his reaction. There was no empathy. There was no compassion. There was no like wanting to fight for us, and I was like, so what are we going to do? And he just kept playing. And he was like, I already got an apartment. I already took my name off of the lease. So it was like within a couple days he moved out.
Some people think relationship is like a game, and this is why we keep seeing videos like this. So she decided to get a divorce, and once she told her husband, his reaction shocked her. She couldn't believe he didn't try to fight for her. She expected he would oppose it, or at least show some sort of reaction as someone who still wanted to be in that marriage. But since he didn't care, she felt offended. What got to her the most was the fact that he got home and played his video game as if nothing had happened. And the next day, he got everything ready to leave.
It's a continuing cycle that will forever happen if women continue to keep wanting to walk around here entitled and keep trying to validate themselves instead of validating the real issue and saying, okay, well, here, let's acknowledge this right here. Here's my issue. Now, once again, they were in therapy, but obviously the fact that this man can roll up and just say, hey, man, it is what it is. Like, it was never going to work to begin with. Whose fault is that, really? Once again, you got to really look at the woman right now. I get it. You don't know the full story. Maybe he was a nonchalant PS, or POS, whatever. But at the end of the day, it should be very telling, because as stated before, you would never really hear the man's side of the story, because 9 times out of 10, they don't want to entertain that BS. They just leave it up to the women to entertain. But once again, man, gotta feel bad for the guy. But at the same time, you gotta be happy because he essentially dodged the bullet. But let's go ahead and read these comments. Someone says, if you're ready to leave, why do you want him to fight or react? I love his response. Then somebody else says, she's addicted to being the center of attention. Enjoy the dating apps, lady. And then somebody else says, I love this guy. I did the same. You want to leave? Go. And then somebody else says, it was probably the happiest day of his life. Then somebody else responds, what did you want? To cuddle? And then somebody else responds and says, a man respecting a woman's right, and that's wrong. And then somebody else says, I don't get it. She gets what she asked for and gets offended that she got it. Seems like her prize was his misery. And since he wasn't, she got offended, right? And once again, your women thrive off of manipulation, right? When your women can't physically hurt you, because even though they will try that, they will always try that first, right? But it's just funny because they will always use that same example. Well, oh, I'm afraid to be around men. I'm scared to be around men, this, that, and the third. I'd rather be locked up somewhere with a bear, yada, yada. But once again, your women are the main ones physically putting hands on men on a daily, on a constant basis, right? You're going to ask a woman and say, well, why don't y'all say anything? Well, because how does it look with me telling on my girlfriend? How does it look with me telling on my girlfriend? And the funny thing about it is, if a girl were to cheat and a guy were to do something to her, we will still say that man has some issues. But if a woman turns around and punch a man in the eye or knock a man's glasses off or whatever, a lot of your women, and he cheated, a lot of your women will say, well, you shouldn't have cheated. Well, this, well, that. Well, I can understand why it's that double standard. It's just a double standard that really irks me. But that manipulation is key for a lot of women. If that physical stuff can't work, manipulation. So what do they do? They try to manipulate you through the courts. They try to, hey, oh, well, he did this to me. He did that to me. Arrest him. Now your whole career messed up. They're going to do everything they can in their power to try to mess you up. As the guy stated, she was just the center of the attention. That's all. Then somebody else says, too many of these women think real life is like a Disney movie. What the F is this fighting to keep her? You want out, sis? Say less. You got it. Then somebody else says, bro kept it all the way, player. Then somebody says, are you sure he didn't care? Pretty sure there's more. Then somebody else says, yeah, if you wanted a divorce, why do you care? Then somebody else says, in his mind, he really was saying, what the F took you so long? I've been ready to go months ago. Right. So once again, guys, y'all let me know down below, man. What do y'all think? Right. What do y'all think? I stated before, this is just a woman who just have issues, but they will claim, swear up and down that they don't have no issues, that they're perfect, that, oh, well, nobody, it was his fault. It was his fault. Deflect. Once again, when the proof is all in the pudding, baby. So do me a huge favor, let me like, let me comment, subscribe to the channel. Let me know, how do you feel about this?